but we are approaching the United Nations. It's a hardy band, okay? Cameroon is a long way away, and the Anglophone regions are one part of it. But these people have a legitimate claim, and not only has Paul Biya burned down villages to try to snuff out their dreams, the UN has sent an envoy, Francois Fall, who said that any secessionists are extremists. That's what he said. And yesterday, Jeffrey Feltman said, that's okay. Nothing more we can do. Antonio Guterres took a golden statue from these guys. So we're going to check this out. Look, here we go. This is the flag of Ambazonia. Hey, here they are. It's a nice group over here. Let's check it out. This is Ayub Tabe. Hey, what's happening? How you doing?
Okay.
Had to be here. Got to be here. Yeah, absolutely. Let me. I'll talk in a second. Let me just try to get a sense of the. So we've asked the UN repeatedly where he is. Where was Amina Mohammed when he was taken up? No answers. But there's the UN. Hey. All right. Let's check this out here. Let's see what's going on. This is a legitimate claim. These are. Hey. Hello. All right. Okay. Well, I try to cover it. All right. Okay.
Interfering for us at the United States building.
Well,
we're going to give the chance to say something real quick if you want.
I'll say,
I'm going to give ourselves the power
all right.
to say something real quick.
Great, thanks so much. Oh yeah, sure. Okay, I'll just pull it in. That's all right, I got it. All right. I'm glad to see you guys here. And I say it, I mean, as a journalist, I ask a lot of questions of the UN. I started asking when the internet was turned off, and the answers got worse and worse. Basically, the UN, finally they said the Secretary General was going to stop over in Yaoundé. This took place sometime in October when he was doing another trip. He stopped over, and what he did was take a golden statue from Paul Biya. I've started asking, where is the golden statue? How much did it cost? And what are you doing for it? More recently, the Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, who used to be a government official of Nigeria, she was in Abuja when Ayub Tabe was disappeared from the hotel there. So we said, are you going to talk to the government? Ask them why they sent them. No. Recently, and you may not have seen this yet, but she put out a statement, the UN put out a statement. Amina Mohammed met with Buhari, President of Nigeria, and they called on Cameroon to treat those who'd been returned in compliance with international law. It's a nice call, but the same country that sent them back illegally, it's very hypocritical to say, now treat them right. Yeah. And so we just keep, even yesterday, today the UN is closed, I've asked them, where is the Secretary General? Because I think he should hear from the people that if he went and met with Paul Biya and took the golden statue, he should hear the other side. Yes. But I believe he's out of town, and I believe they're not even saying where he is, actually. I literally have said, where is he? Because he's a public official, totally outside of this issue. He should say where he is. Maybe I'm not pushing it right. But in any event, the questions go on, and it seems like this is it's a uniquely UN issue because of the referendum going all the way back, because of the way it was done in 1961 in the General Assembly. So there are a lot of questions for them to answer, and I intend to keep asking them. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
In Cameroon, between the central government and the Anglophone areas, seems like they turned off the internet. Now, more recently, they've been burning down whole villages. I know that Mr. Fall had gone there, and at least I heard him say that anyone that wants secession is an extremist, which is something that the government uses to actually perform these acts and say that anyone that says that is a terrorist. So I wanted to know, all right.
Thank you.
Questions? No. Questions. I'll go about it that way. Yeah. Oh, sure. Anytime. Yeah. Guys, I'm glad that this is a... Phones.
Mr. Rosalie, on behalf of the Ambazonians, we thank you heartily
nice hat.
For the great service that you do to the world.
Do you want one of those hats? Say? No, I'm okay. Spring is coming. Okay. If it was the fall, I would do it for sure. Anyway.
And we pray. We always continue to pray for you. That God give you long life, and that God will sustain you, give you, and promote you to wherever you have desire.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Definitely. No. Keep it up. Keep going. I'm here to cover it. So. Let's hear some speeches. I won't stop.
Hey.
All right. Sorry, guys. We've got a big... Guys? All right. Let me circulate. Yeah, definitely.
I'm from Amnesty International.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems you've been involved in this case for a long time.
Sure. I guess, I mean, I don't know how far back you want to go at. It's one of these conflicts where...
Yeah. Please just tell us your name.
Okay.
You're live now.
Sure. My name is Matthew Russell Lee.
Yes.
I'm a journalist with Inner City Press.
Yes.
And I cover a lot of issues at the UN, Western Sahara, Yemen. But this issue grabbed me because anytime a government turns off the internet in a place, just to keep people from getting messages around, that's when I started asking about it.
Yes.
Next thing I knew,
specifically in the Cameroon area.
Absolutely, in the Anglophone areas of Cameroon. I'd heard, people contacted me, I looked into it.
Yes.
And the funny thing is, once I started asking this, I found that the UN's resident representative in Cameroon blocked me on Twitter. I started asking her on questions on Twitter, why don't you speak up about this censorship? She blocked me, which is confirming censorship. So I've continued to ask it, and
you've done articles on this issue.
Absolutely. I've written probably 150 articles on this topic. InnerCityPress.com.
Oh, Inner City Press.
Exactly.
And right now, what they're asking for is basically independence.
I think it's reached that point. I mean, I think the UN is very against, they love territorial integrity. This is the main problem with the UN. The UN said, anyone who's a secessionist is an extremist. This is a quote by the UN's envoy, Francois Fall. He said, secessionists are extremists. This is a terror. That's what he said. You can find. Is that
an official policy?
That is what that pretty much, their policy is that there should be discussions, but only within the framework of sovereignty. The moment you say, we want a new border, you're outside the bounds. They think it's legitimate for Cameroon to not talk to anyone that wants to be independent. And the problem is, this is exactly what Paul Biya's excuse is for killing people in these areas. He says they're terrorists. He says people are terrorists. If you say you want independence, if you say you don't believe in the way that the elimination of federalism, then you're an extremist and a terrorist. So the UN has really failed on this file. You can look all the steps that have taken place. The Secretary General says he wants to avoid conflict. I would say the UN has actually thrown gasoline on the fire here by going and so much citing. Paul Biya has been president for 36 years. 36 years he's been coming here every September, shaking hands, giving gifts. Right now, Cameroon is the chair of the UN Budget Committee. So Antonio Guterres needs the approval of the Budget Committee for his supposed reforms. Yeah. He went to Cameroon. He stopped over for about 4 hours. He had been in Central African Republic taking...
Have you traveled in that region?
I have. Not to Cameroon. I've been to CAR. I've been to DRC.
Okay. As Amnesty International, we are very interested in some of the human rights violations taking place
Absolutely.
in the region.
Okay.
So what are some of the documented human rights violations that maybe you've read, you've seen, you've interviewed?
I mean, I think what's happened now is basically to try to put down the secessionist impulse. They've burned whole villages. I've seen the pictures. They've burned young men that use motorcycles to make their living. They've burned the motorcycles.
Are you talking about the police or the military?
I'm talking about BIR. I'm talking about BIR, the Special Forces of Paul Biya. But they've used gunship helicopters. They fly helicopters over. It's a brutal repression because their idea is that's why they turned off the internet. They don't want anyone to know what's happening. You saw France recently. They said no one should travel there. This is maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, but it's a zone that's been sort of cut off.
There's no internet as we speak right now.
What they've tried to do now is slow it down. They turned it off for 94 days. Yeah, they turned it off for 94 days, but they realized that this made the conflict more high profile. So they turn it on, but they managed to turn it on and turn it off. But still, messages get out. I mean, as you may know, it's actually a pretty high-tech area. They have something called Silicon Mountain, where these guys are doing apps. I mean, they're building an economy. When you turn the internet off, you destroy everything. When you burn people's motorcycles, you destroy everything. They've created curfews. It's as bad as many of the human rights situations that the UN talks about. But in this case, the UN is covering it up. Honestly, they go and say there's going to be dialogue. There's no dialogue. Because the government has said we won't talk to anyone that believes in this. So how can there be dialogue? You can't choose your own counterparty to dialogue with. Paul Biya is an old man. Maybe that's maybe it'll stay this way as long as he's in power.
Yeah,
but
thank you for
yeah,
the
sure.
work you're doing. Once again, what's your media house?
It's innercitypress.com or at innercitypress on Twitter or innercitypress on YouTube or on Periscope, all over the place. Okay? Thank you. Definitely. Glad you're doing it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Guys, many phones, many. Well,
Okay.
this is a lot of phones. We got a lot of phones here. So you guys are mostly came up from Maryland or from Canada? Yeah. Maryland. Yeah. There's one. I met one southern Cameroonian from Alabama here one time. I interviewed her. She came all the way up from Alabama and stood alone in front of the UN with a sign. It's incredible. All over the place. All over the place. Yeah, it's something else. It's honestly, I'm embarrassed for the United Nations the way they handle this. It's embarrassing. You know, just as a. I'll keep asking questions. All right, guys, let me circulate around. Say again?
Do you have a minute for?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Actually, I'm a silent, so therefore I'm doing this little show on SCBC. Probably you watched me on the show. I actually came all the way to an address I googled the last time.
Oh yeah. I'm really sorry. Yeah. The difficulty that I have is I'm in the UN these days, but I can't sign people in. I'm more than willing to do something with you. Let's talk. Yeah. It's a station that I like. Let me give you my card. Let me give you my card, and we'll go from there. Okay.
All right.
And I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to. It's just difficult. Like
I understand.
As I ask these questions, I've gotten in more and more trouble with the UN. Honestly. Yeah. They make it so I have to have a minder. I go through the tour. I'm a tourist in the UN. They want me to buy their shot glasses and diapers, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. It's fun. I mean. Yeah. This is something I'm glad to see. You know. I'm going to try to find out where Antonio Guterres is because he must know what this is. So call, contact me.
Just one personal picture.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Because you're a fan.
Definitely. Please. Absolutely. It's good you guys are out here. I mean, honestly, the UN should send someone out to
thanks.
You know, the UN should send. Sometimes they do. The UN is so. I have to say it. They've handled this very badly, but keep it up.
Yeah, we're trying our best.
If your cause is just, you just have to keep raising it. But it shouldn't take this much. Definitely, it shouldn't take this much. No, just so you know, I know the Cameroon ambassador. He's like, "Why do you talk to these people? They're terrorists." It's like these people are not terrorists. This is the mentality they have. Yeah. Yes.
I called you.
Okay. I know.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks so much. I know. I told you I would be here.
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice. Too much. Well done. Well, I sometimes I tweet that out. Mantra Bixby. Nice. Yep. All right.
Stay with you.
All right. Okay.
When I called you, I knew
No, definitely.
that you show up.
Oh, of course. It's not even a work day at the UN. I can't go into the UN today, but I'm came to cover this because I have to, you know. And I've asked, and I asked them repeatedly, where is Guterres? He left town. He went to his home in Lisbon. That's my belief.
Really?
He doesn't care.
No,
he does. I hate to say it. You know, I started covering him very fairly, but when I saw he took the golden statue, and literally.
And we know Patricia Scotland also took it.
I know.
Right?
But she spoke slightly better, but I agree. It seems to be a trend, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small thing, but it's very telling.
Yeah.
You know?
It is.
And because here's the thing. There are definitely leaders on earth that he wouldn't take a golden statue from. He wouldn't go to Syria and take a golden statue because he knows that people would be mad at him. Yeah. But he doesn't perceive it this way. He says, he doesn't care. He says it's Africa. He's a president 36 years.
You have Cameroonians working there.
Okay. There are a few, and a few.
What do they feel about it? Did they talk about the situation?
Okay, guys, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the ones that believe that this cause is just. They're very quiet. I talk to them. They whisper to me and they say, "Never say I spoke to you, but I think it's right. You could try. Ask this, ask that." Yeah. Okay. Very good. Okay. I'll follow along.
So we thank you. You have my number.
I do.
My
thank you so much for telling me.
My pleasure.
This is great.
So
guys, keep it up. Yes.
This is an upcoming music CD that I made.
Oh, wow.
I'm the artist.
Okay.
And the proceeds are going to go to take care of our refugees and victims of torture.
Yeah.
So I'll probably send it to you when it comes.
Okay, please do.
This is what
What's the title of it? Then I'll just Google around.
It's Ambazonia Shall Rise.
Shall Rise. Okay. Good title. Good title. Yeah.
Oh, are you coming to Times Square?
I am going to keep following it. Yeah, we're doing.
Sorry,
Yeah.
don't mind two of us just...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, please. Oh, nice sign. Very nice. Wow.
Thank you.
Southern Cameroon State. You've got. All right. I don't want to slow you guys from getting to Times Square. I'm going to follow and.
We don't get to see you every day.
Yeah, well, I don't get to see. Sunglasses. Very fashionable.
Yeah.
Very fashionable.
Okay, thanks.
All right. I feel like I don't want. Yeah. Well. I try to I cover it. Basically, I'm covering the news, but I can't get into the UN today. So what can you do? Okay. Nice signs. Okay, guys, I'm going more journalistic now.
I'll let you know when the CD comes out.
I don't send it to me. Direct message. Send it to me. Right? InnerCityPress@gmail.com. @InnerCityPress on Twitter. Just send it to me, and I'm going to be Googling for it.
Good.
Now these guys, they're going on the right. This is great. They're going on the good.
Good.
All right.
So
Let me.
Ambazonia
Shall Rise. Yes. It's a good one. Good title.
It's our story told music. You will love it.
Fabulous. Okay.
It's Ambazonia.
Oh.
It shall arise.
That's going to be great.
Ambazonia. He said, Boya is the city on the mountain. Don't worry, when it comes
All right.
out, you hear it, okay?
Very good. Excellent. See you. There. Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So I'll keep in touch.
Okay. Very much.
You're
Thanks for letting me know.
right?
Yeah.
You're on WhatsApp.
Yeah.
I sent you the
Okay.
flyer,
Very good.
but I'll keep in touch.
Very excellent. Let me end this broadcast and then follow up.
And end the broadcast.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So this was it. This was the first of a series of the Ambazonian protests at the UN, where Antonio Guterres is missing for the day, spending your money, traveling away, while an issue he should have been working on is growing louder and larger all the time. Here they are. Now here's the visitors' entrance of the United Nations. The building is closed. Antonio Guterres is missing in action, spending your money. And this is the very gate where UN security through Inner City Press on the street broke its computer on the ground for covering these issues. An issue that Antonio Guterres should be ashamed, backing up a longtime dictator president who's killing people in the Anglophone zones of his country, and the man they won't even say where he is. Antonio Guterres is out of the country, while the voices of the people that he's ignored and screwed over go right by him. Antonio Guterres, it's a joke. Return the golden statue. Return the golden statue. Joker. No, seriously. That's bad karma. It's bad karma. And there they go. All UN gates are closed today. Good Friday, they call it. For Antonio Guterres, it's yet another bad Friday. A bad Friday spending public money. They spent public money. There they go. Ambazonians. Seeking justice in a place where it's hard to find. The UN is as closed as the gates are today. Its heart is closed. Where is the golden statue? Return the golden statue. It must be returned. Melt it. Well, diplomacy thus far has failed. Antonio Guterres has taken the golden statue. Shocking. A shocking display. We're going to get this one. On this note, we close. Antonio Guterres and his golden statue. Here, the United Nations, where dreams come to die, where non-violent aspirationals of independence are described as extremists. You saw them. Were they extremists? What does Antonio Guterres care? He's back in Lisbon. What does his deputy care? Covering up for Buhari. A disgusting performance. And here's the thing. The only media that's ever asked them any questions about this is the one cast out. The Egyptian, given Inner City Press's office, who never comes in, she could go in today. Doesn't want to. No work to do. My camera's inside and I can't even get it to cover this protest. The UN is corrupt. Alison Smale should be ashamed and should resign. 6 months, no answers. The Ambazonians continue on 42nd Street. Let's check it out. Shocking, a shocking display. The golden statue must be returned. This is the same route that we took all summer to cover the UN corruption case of Englap Sang. That was the case they threw Inner City Press out for covering. That's how shocking. They complain. Of course they can't complain against Paul Biya's censorship. They censor themselves. Antonio Guterres is as much of a censor as Paul Biya. Just a little more genteel since he's in New York City. A little. No, I don't know. They smashed computers on the ground. You can find the audio of this. And no one's ever said it was wrong. No, it can't be. They're the UN. What could they do wrong? Kill 10,000 people? Must be some mistake. Oh, anyway, we have immunity. Disgusting. But here we go. They're going to Times Square. I think I may not go that far. I find it depressing when you have the Mickey Mouse characters and these issues. But the UN part of the protest, I'm proud. I'm proud to cover it on Good Friday. Good Friday when I can't even go into the UN and get my camera. Thank you so much, Department of Public Information. Sleazebag cover-up operation. Hua Jiang, a shocking embarrassment. Darren Ferrand. These people have overseen restrictions and censorship for 2 years. 2 years. No answers. There are no rules. Inner City Press said, okay, you threw it at... What's the process? There is no process. You're not even on a list. People no-show retirees can come in and be assigned full access, but not Inner City Press, because we actually cover things. Well, you know what? We're going to cover it ever more aggressively. This is maybe the worst Secretary Generalship ever. And I covered Ban Ki-moon. Ban Ki-moon didn't go home to Seoul all the time. He didn't sneak around. He may have been incompetent, but this guy is sneaky. What? We asked Stefan Dujarric, we asked Farhan Haq, we asked whoever they put on weekend duty, where is he? It's a very simple question. It really does have to be answered. But only at the UN do they think they can take your money and go and hide and then smash the computer of the press that's asking. Disgusting. Up to the corner, Rabin Way. Sorry for the loud noises. And a little bit sorry for the ranting, but it's all related. Of course the UN, of course Antonio Guterres can't solve this or even have a positive impact on this issue. He's corrupt. He's a corrupt censor. Here, the Ambazonians. Continue. I think they're gonna get the green light, and we're gonna have this is maybe our closing tracking shot. A blue flag across 2nd Avenue. Rolling. There it is. You've got WPIX, you've got... you're going to go by a song about the SDGs. The SDGs is the UN's pretext. It can screw over, it can characterize peaceful aspirants to independence as terrorists or extremists and get them killed, and then fly off to Lisbon and throw the press in the street. You know what's going to hang Mr. Guterres on his own petard is this UNAIDS thing, because he pretends to care so much about sexual harassment. And yesterday, he refused to answer the Inner City Press's question about it. And today, at 2 o'clock, coming right up, on CNN International, UNAIDS victim will speak not only about Luis Lure's lurid elevator play, but about the cover-up by Michel Sidibe, left unchecked by Guterres these many months, hasn't spoken to him, didn't read The Guardian apparently, where Mr. Sidibe told his staff he's going to investigate anyone who complains. That's the UN. And now it will be better known. And they'll say, oh, we just didn't understand. I mean, it was only Inner City Press asking. This guy's some kind of a Ambazonian. Yeah, Ambazonian. Proudly so. Disgusting. I'm sort of joking around, but these are the issues. The UN will jump over candlesticks to pretend to be doing something. I don't even know. They haven't accomplished anything. Not on Syria, not on Yemen. Nothing. Zero. Zip. Worse all the time. It's a shame. It's nice to see this blue flag floating across 42nd Street, so that this broadcast doesn't freeze up again. Let me swing out for a final tracking shot here in Midtown Manhattan. The Ambazonian flag is unfurled. Where's Tomo Monte? Tomo is not the problem. The problem is the UN. The fact that dictators want to hold on to their land, not a surprise. The fact that the UN sides with dictators routinely, and censors the press that asks, that's surprising. Geico. All right. We'll end right here. Matthew Lee, Inner City Press, on behalf of the Free UN Coast for Access. Thanks for doing this exit press conference. I wanted to ask you about a conflict that seems to have actually gotten worse in the last year, either despite or some say because of UN involvement, and it's the one in Cameroon between the central government and the Anglophone areas. Seems like, you know, they turned off the internet. Now, more recently, they've been burning down whole villages. I know that Mr. Fall had gone there, and at least I heard him say that, you know, anyone that wants secession is an extremist, which is something that the government uses to actually perform these acts, and say that anyone that says that is a terrorist. So I wanted to know, like, how it's a lesser known or less high profile conflict, but how does DPA? You said you have all this expertise from around the world, but is it possible that sort of the former or even current colonial powers have kind of the ear in some cases of these kind of conflicts? And how would you assess the UN's performance in Cameroon?
Thank you, Mr. Lee. It's worth keeping in mind that that by and large, the Department of Political Affairs operates overseas under Chapter 6 of the Charter. That means member state consent. We operate in Chapter 8 in partnerships with regional and sub-regional organizations that are key to our ability to have full understanding and better credibility in our work. But it's Chapter 6. This is not something where the Department of Political Affairs can say, "Hey, we see a problem. We're going to send out a team or an envoy or something like that." That's not how it works. We have to have we have to be able to persuade a country that some outside engagement, some outside facilitation might be of use. And that's hard. This is one of the hardest things that I have seen about working in the Department of Political Affairs, and it's one of the hardest things about making prevention work. The Secretary General is, as you've all heard, is very keen on prevention across the whole spectrum of UN activities, whether it's prevention of childhood disease or prevention of conflict. But prevention of conflict is especially difficult. And I would put Cameroon in this category because we think that there are lessons learned, there are best practices, there are examples in other parts of the world where there have been successful processes that address the concerns of minorities, of various ethnic groups, of people who feel for one reason or the other disenfranchised, that might be useful in Cameroon. But we're not going to be able to just march in there and say, this is what you got to do. That's not the idea, and it's not realistic. And so we have a sort of an ongoing dialogue with the Cameroon authorities about our concerns over over problems in the Anglophone region and what could happen if those concerns aren't addressed effectively. But this is not the case of the UN being able to go in and saying this is the solution. Even when the door is open to UN intervention on conflict prevention under Chapter 6, I don't believe it's wise for the UN to say this is the solution. What the UN should be doing is helping local actors come up with a way forward that addresses grievances in a way that the local owners end up having ownership in that. I think the Cameroon is something we need to keep watching.